guys, I am going to do an art project with you today. I know that you're not in school, or even as we're getting ready to go back to school, your art docents aren't going to be able to come into your classroom for a little while. So we're going to do an art project together on this video. So you should have received in your material pickup a little bag with your art supplies, and I'm going to tell you what else you need. So in your bag, you'll have received a piece of white paper like this, a piece of brown paper, a green strip, and then 7 strips of orange paper. And they're actually different lengths, so we'll talk about the different lengths later. That's what's in your material bag. What you also need to have when you're ready to do your project is you need crayons. You need glue, so you have a glue stick, or if you have the white school glue, whatever kind of glue you have at your house is fine. And then you need a pair of scissors. So those are the only things that you need for this project. So if you have all those things ready, you're going to be good to go. So what we're going to make today is we're going to be making these pumpkins. I have a couple to show you. So here's one of my pumpkins, and here's the other. And I don't know if you can tell, but these pumpkins are 3-dimensional, which means they come up off of the page. They're not flat. So we're going to make these 3-dimensional pumpkins. And these 3-dimensional pumpkins are in the style of a really famous artist. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that artist, and then I'll show you how to do the project. So this artist, her name is Yayoi Kusama, and she is an artist from Japan. She was born in 1929 in Japan, and then she lived in America for a while when she was a famous artist. She's still alive today. And then later in her life, she moved back to Japan. So she's lived in Japan and America. Yayoi is really famous for her use of patterns. So she uses patterns in a lot of her art. And she does art that's painting, she does art that are sculptures, all sorts of art. So the pattern she's most famous for using is polka dots. In fact, sometimes they call her the Princess of Polka Dots. So she is also really famous for her use of pumpkins. She loves to use pumpkins. And she says that she has loved using pumpkins ever since she was a kid. And she said she likes pumpkins because she thinks they have a funny shape and they give her a warm feeling inside when she looks at a pumpkin. So I have some from her artwork to show you. So this is some of her artwork. This is 3 pumpkins. This is a screen print, and she has used kind of a crackle pattern behind the pumpkins and then polka dots on her pumpkins. And as you can see, her pumpkins don't necessarily look real. They have kind of a, you can tell they're a pumpkin, but they have different things that make them look not real, like the polka dots and the colors, because these aren't our normal pumpkin colors. And then she also does different types of sculptures. So this is a pumpkin sculpture, and it's really small. It's only about 3 inches tall in real life and 3 inches wide. And again, you can tell it's a pumpkin, even though it's red and white, not like a normal pumpkin, like orange like you think of. And then I'm going to show you guys one more. This is a huge pumpkin sculpture. It is about, I think, 8 or 9 feet tall and about 9 feet wide. So this is a really big pumpkin sculpture that she made, and it has the same polka dots that she used in her others. So we're going to do pumpkins in the style of Yayoi Kusama. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to get your materials ready. So you're going to have your white piece ready to go. And then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to take these orange strips of paper and I want you to line them up tallest to shortest. So you're going to have one really tall one, and then you're going to have 2 that are the next tallest, 2 that are the next tallest, and 2 that are the smallest. So I want you to line them up just like this, because we need to keep track of which strip we're using. And then the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your strips and you're going to, I want you to give each piece of orange paper a little tab. And by tab, I mean you're going to fold it over just like this, like a little flap. See how this little flap right here? You're going to give it this little flap. And I want you to do that to both sides of each strip, so that you'll have a strip all your strips will look like this. They'll have little tabs, and these tabs are what are gonna give us the ability to make that pumpkin three-dimensional. So we're not gonna glue it flat, we're gonna glue those tabs and kind of pop it up like that. So I want you to give all of your strips these two little tabs, and so you're gonna wanna do the tabs both on the same side of the strip, like this. So you don't want one flipping one way and one flipping the other. They're both gonna flip the same way. So I want you to make all of your flaps, those little tabs on your paper, and you can do yours along with me. If I'm moving too fast, then you can always pause your video so you can catch up. Because sometimes I work a little faster because I've done this project a few times before. So get all those tabs folded like this. And you want to make your tabs about the same size. You don't want to make some of your tabs really big and some of them really small, because then it'll be hard to keep track of which of our papers were the small and which was the bigger ones. So try to make your tabs about the same size. They don't have to be exact, but you want them about that big. Okay, so my strips all have the tabs. And then you're going to take your tabs. I want you to flip them over so those tabs are pointing down. So now they're kind of popping up off the table because you've got them like that. So you should still be able to tell that you have one of the tallest, two of the next tallest, two of the next tallest, and two of the small one. And then I want you to choose a pattern. You can do polka dots like Yayoi Kusama, you can do stripes, you can do whatever pattern you can think of. And you're going to put that pattern on all of your strips. So I think I'm going to do, what should I do? I think I'm going to do some zigzag patterns here. And you can use black, or I'm using black crayon, but you can use whatever color you want on yours. And I'm going to do some zigzag patterns on mine. Mine looks like that. And I want you to do that same pattern on all of your strips. Oh, my crayon broke. That's okay. And then just keep going and get that pattern on all of those strips. Okay, I'm done with my patterns on my strips. If you're not done, now's a great time to push pause. And you can push pause and catch up. And then once you're ready, you can unpause it and then catch back up. So I'm going to put my strips back in order. I want them to still go tallest to shortest. So mine got kind of mixed up here. So I'm going to put them back tallest to shortest, like that. And then I'm going to start gluing them onto my paper. So I'm going to start first with my big one. and I'm going to take my largest strip, so the longest one, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue on each of those tabs. Just like that. And then I'm going to find about the center of my paper, and I have my paper landscape just like this, so you're putting it this way. This way is called portrait, this way is called landscape. You want it to be landscape because you're going to need all that room to fit these strips. And you're going to put your longest strip, put that bottom tab, kind of see how I kind of put it in the middle here but near the bottom of the page, and then if I stretch this strip all the way up, it's not going to pop up at all. But if I pull it back a little bit like this, it's going to pop up. And I could choose if I want it to be really fat or just a little bit popped up off the page. And you'll see that that pops up off the page. So we have three-dimensional art. So now you're going to take your next two, so the next shortest, and you're going to put those on either side of this tallest one, and you're going to put them on just like you did the longest one. So put a strip of glue, a dot of glue on those tabs, and do the same thing. And your strips can line up all this on the bottom, or you can put them a little bit higher, however you want your pumpkin to look. I'm going to do mine like this, and I'm going to put a little bit of space between my strips, and then I'm going to pull it down so that it pops up. I don't want it to be flat. And then I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to do the other next longest one on the other side of this long one. Just like that. And I'm going to make sure to really push those strips down. So then I'm going to take those next two longest, I'm going to put them on either side, just like that, and I'm going to glue them on. And then finally, I've got my two little short strips, my very last ones, and then I'm going to put them on the ends. Okay, so I've got all my strips of paper, and you can see how they pop up off the page, just like that, because we put them on those tabs. So I've got all my strips on. If you need to catch up, push pause so you can get all caught up, and then we're going to keep working on our pumpkin. So the next thing we need is we need our pumpkin to have a stem. So I have this brown paper, and you can decide if you want like a really fat stem or if you want a skinny stem. And you're gonna I think I'm just gonna do like a medium. So I'm just gonna cut it out. And if you want, you could just glue that on flat and have a flat stem. But if you want it to pop off the page, like your pumpkin, what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold your paper a little bit. See how it has a little tab like this? And then this time you're gonna turn it over and fold it back. And then you turn the paper over and fold it that way. And you're going to keep doing that until you have a little piece of paper that's like this, kind of a little accordion like this. And then you're going to glue that on. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my stem on. And I like to kind of tuck it under that middle tab and stick it on. So now I have a stem that pops off the page, and then next we are going to add a couple of leaves if you want, and then you know when you go to the pumpkin patch and sometimes there's like a little curly Q vine still on the stem, we're going to add one of those, and I'm going to show you how. This is fun because it pops off the page as well. You're going to take that green strip of paper, and you're going to cut a little skinny strip, just like this. See, so I have this little skinny strip, and now I'm going to take a crayon, and I'm going to wrap it around my crayon. So I'm going to hold it with one hand, and then the other hand I'm going to wrap it. See how I'm wrapping it, and I'm kind of going across the crayon. And keep going until you run out of paper, until it's all the way done. And then I like to kind of smush it on that crayon. And then watch what happens when you let go of it. And you take the crayon out and you have a cute little curly Q. Just like that. And we'll glue that on as well. So you can just put, I like to put glue just on the ends of the curly Q. And then stick those onto the paper. Just like that. So I have a fun little curled vine coming up off the paper. And then if you want, you could add some leaves as well. So you can take your leftover green paper and cut some leaf shapes. So I'm gonna do you can just do one, you can do several, and I'm just gonna stick it on there. And you can do whatever shape leaf you want. You could do a leaf shape like that, or you could do kind of a more different shape leaf like this one. Whatever leaf shape you want to put on your pumpkin. I think I like this kind of funny one right here, so I'm gonna glue this leaf on. So your leaf can be any shape you want. And I'm gonna just stick it on there, just like that. So now I've got my pumpkin, it's three-dimensional and popping off the page, and you could stop there and be all done, or you can add one more pattern. If you remember the pumpkin that Yayoi had that were like this, they have kind of a crackle pattern in the background and then polka dots on the pumpkin. So I'm going to do a different pattern on the back of my pumpkin. Now I'm going to show you some examples of my other ones. This one has stars on the back, in the background, a star pattern. And this one has polka dots. Oops, it's upside down. So you could do it. So I did the same pattern as my pumpkin, or you can do something new. I think on this pumpkin, I'm going to do some stripes in the background. You're just gonna kind of work around that pumpkin that's on there. So you're just kind of go around it. Sometimes it'll kind of feel like it's in your way. I'm all done with my pumpkin. I did a stripe pattern in the background and then some zigzags on my pumpkin, and if you can see, it is like a three-dimensional pumpkin. It pops off the page. So now you have a pumpkin in the style of Yayoi Kusama, and I would love to see your pumpkin. So in your bag of supplies, you'll have a little piece of paper that tells you how to send me a picture of your pumpkin. I would love, love, love to see your pumpkin, and we'll put together maybe a slideshow of all the pumpkins that everyone sends to us. We're also going to have a little, like an art show with these pumpkins where we kind of get to pick some winners of our pumpkin art show slideshow. So we'll make sure to share our slideshow with everyone, and we'll pick some winners of our slideshow. So please submit your pumpkin artwork, and make sure that you tell us your name when you send it to us. You don't have to put it on your paper, but make sure you tell us your name when you send it to us. And we can't wait to see your finished pumpkins.